Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the tired Titan herself, Sandy Reevy.
It's truly true. I am tired.
Yes. So it is episode 117 here, October 19th, 2020. Happy Monday, everybody. So let's get right into it. In the transits, we have Monday, October 19th, Mars squared Jupiter.
What should I believe?
Monday, October 19th, Venus trine Jupiter.
No light for the cigar.
And again, Monday, October 19th, Mercury retrograde opposes Uranus.
Part 2. I'm redirecting you to another department.
Wednesday, October 21st, Venus trine Pluto.
What's the draw?
Thursday, October 22nd, Sun ingress Scorpio.
Happy birthday, Scorpios.
Saturday, October 24th, Venus trine Saturn.
Of practical use.
And Sunday, October 25th, we have Sun cazimi Mercury retrograde.
Heart of the sun.
Then in Talisman times, Sandy has had the week off, so no finished talismans. However, we have a very, very special one coming up October 25th. Then on the horizon, we have some virtual retreats and events coming up. And in our house, Sandy and I, after a long week of travel events and virtual travel, we are going to list our favorite ways to ground and settle back into a daily routine. So stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
Here, where the night is totally clear, and your heart is fierce, and so you finally know you control where you go.
Hello and welcome in, tired Titan. It's good to have you back here.
Can you believe a Titan would even get tired? Titans don't.
Yes, I
But
can't believe
this
that.
human, mortal woman is tired.
Yes.
I'm just getting a chance after being home for 4 days to unpack my bag of 6 weeks, which were the same clothes, and they were all summer. Mm-hmm. I only had sandals.
Quickly became fall. Way too quickly became fall.
I know. I still want to pick my tomatoes and harvest my food upstairs on the deck, and I go up and it's
Barren.
shriveled and eaten by birds. Because I went home, took care of my mom, who was having a little lumbar back issue. And didn't expect, nor did she expect me to stay for 6 weeks. But she's better. She's moving on her own, and she can be, in the home by herself now.
Right.
So we did. Our intention manifested.
Your mission was accomplished.
She's good.
Mission
She's
accomplished,
good now.
Titan.
Yeah.
So yes, and I'm very proud of you. You stuck to business, responsibilities. Studying, you took 4 classes during this whole entire thing.
They're pretty deep classes,
you wrote
too.
Papers. Your one paper, which was so interesting, on Dennis Rodman and his astrology, you wrote that, and it was about 15 pages long, which the teacher asked you for about 6 or 7 pages.
I know, but
You are never the,
I'm not the writer.
Well, and I guess you're never really the student either. A lot of the times you're the teacher, and you're not the writer either.
But I know how to tell a story, or if I just get into the storyline and not so much the content, the story becomes the content.
Right.
So I'm good at that.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I want to get to all of our listeners, go direct to you all. Thank you so much for your amazing support, purchasing our talismans, scheduling readings with Sandy, signing up for monthly, quarterly, annual subscriptions, and this is what keeps us going financially. What keeps us going on an emotional and spiritual level is the feedback. So I wanted to share this one from Lisa P. in Minnesota. She sent in 5-star feedback, and it's called Alignment with Soul's Purpose. I had an amazing connection with the energies of my birth chart to align back to my soul's purpose. I am so excited about the affirmation I received for the path I'm already on and to keep moving forward. Through this affirmation and alignment, I am able to trust myself and my own inner guidance fully and be in flow with my universe. And I love how she says, my universe, because you're taking ownership of your world. Mm-hmm. You're kind of collecting it and you're saying, this is mine. So
and this is what I can achieve. This is my free will. This is how I want to build it.
Right. So shout out to you, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa, thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, so let's move into the transits. We got another big week. Last week it was big. And do you want to do a little bit of your summary of this week?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
We start off with, what should I believe? No light for the cigar. Part 2, patience. I'm redirecting you to another department. Please hold. What's the draw? Happy birthday, Scorpio. Of practical use. Becoming oriental.
Okay.
So that sounds actually a little bit more disjointed than last week's. Totally. Kind of just went boom, 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 and it almost made it, phrasy. Mm-hmm. That made it into a whole sentence. But let's get into it and see how we can blend these 7 days, which is our week.
Yes.
It's our week coming up.
So Monday is maybe the biggest day of transit. So we have Monday, October 19th with 3 transits. The first, Mars square Jupiter.
I mean, this is when we wake up. So if this doesn't even post until 6 a.m. on Monday. This has already happened at 12:38 a.m. And what should I believe? Are you still there? I can't hear the music. And it really feels like a time of discouragement. We're recording this on Sunday, the day before, and we can feel that in the air, right? It's kind of like nice to be behind your closed doors so that you're not having to push too hard, too far, and getting that the burnout. We're all burned out for sure.
And Venus trine Jupiter, no light for the cigar. This is the second transit on Monday, October 19th.
And this already happened. This is at 2:35 a.m. And hey, no light for the cigar. It's like, you've had a baby or whatever you have a cigar for. You're out, you're doing a celebration. Because anytime these 2 planets, Venus and Jupiter, these are the 2 benefics. So these are the 2 that bring good things, glory, abundance, prosperity, love to you. And so whenever they're in a nice aspect, which is this is trine, it's one of the best, it brings lovely things. However, they're both in their fall, F-A-L-L. Venus is in Virgo. She's in her fall there because she's in her exaltation in Pisces, the opposite sign. And then Jupiter is in its fall in Capricorn because he is in his exaltation in the opposite sign of Cancer. So they're both kind of struggling, but at least they're looking at each other.
And struggling together.
And they're looking at each other going, I see you. Here's the cigar. Here's your cigar. But we have no flame. We have no light to, flip it to bick it, right? And to get it fired up.
Yeah, for the whole purpose that you have a cigar.
Right. And so it's still nice, but there's something that's not whole. It can't complete. So I called it no light for the cigar.
Right. And Mercury retrograde opposes Uranus. This is the third and final transit of October 19th.
Right, but it's the second of 3 for the Mercury retrograde opposing Uranus. Just wanted to clarify that. And this happens around 10 o'clock tonight. So this is part 2. It's 2 of 3, passes that Mercury will make in its retrograde to the opposition to Uranus. And so anytime you're getting anything to opposition Uranus, it really is, a kind of a wake-up call. And so this is just about retrograde, about having patience. You're wanting something to move forward. You're anticipating something, but both of these planets are retrograde. So there's a delay. And so it's like redirecting, please hold for the next department. And you're like, and this just happened to me a couple days ago. It's just like, oh my God, you're the third department that I've talked to, right? You've been there. I swear I just did this on Friday. And it's kind of like patience, wait for it. You're not to the right person. And the first pass we had was October 7th. So it was just about 2 weeks ago. And our last pass of this is not for another month, November 17th. And this is just around the time when I was during the Politics and Planets webinar that Susan and I did, that's on the website, because it's quite fascinating for everybody, including astrologers, because we get into a lot of astrology around the political dates. But this is the time where I think that we will all be surprised when, we get the information of who becomes president. I think we said it was November 19th that Susan and I were anticipating the message as who won, because Mercury comes out of its shadow on that day. But 2 days here before, November 19th or November 17th, could still be like some kind of erratic behavior in the messaging.
Okay, interesting. So coming back to this week, our next transit is Wednesday, October 21st, and that is Venus trine Pluto.
4:42 p.m. What's the draw? Because Venus trine Pluto, discover the real intensity that you feel today. It's true. You're really going to feel something on a deep level, because that's what Pluto wants to do. Here's what I want you to do. Ask yourself if it's good for you. Ask if it's good for you and what it will help you do or what you can help others do.
Okay. So our next transit, we have Thursday, October 22nd, Sun ingress Scorpio.
Happy birthday, Scorpios. That's at 6 p.m. exactly. And the sun goes from a cardinal air, which is Libra, to a fixed water. So, dark waters. Did you ever see that movie?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you're kidding. Mm-mm. I just saw it again when I was reviewing this. I'm like, I haven't seen that movie since a year ago. And it's the stuff that I used to do, but it gives you an idea of the width and the depth of what's under the surface power, what we really can't see. And so this is, Scorpios, what is your power? We all have Scorpio ruling some house. Maybe a planet. If we are not Scorpios, but if you're a Scorpio, you at least have the Scorpio ruling your sun, which is complete primary, essence.
And next we have Saturday, October 24th, Venus trine Saturn.
Of practical use. It's a trine. This is easy. This comes in at 10:41 in the morning. And Venus is applying in a trine to Saturn. And Saturn is really strong here. And so there is this, it's a good time to make solid plans in relationships, right? The Venus, money investments, and long-term goals. So you can use this with a practical, right? Like stable.
Yeah.
Stability, to create something that has
value and stability.
Yeah, stability. It's grounded.
Ooh, okay. So build something on the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Sunday, October 25th, Sun cazimi Mercury retrograde.
becoming oriental. Now, the exact time of this is at 1:23 p.m., and this is exactly at 3 degrees of Scorpio. And you've heard us talk about this. This happens about 3 times a year. The Mercury goes inside the sun in the retrograde inferior conjunction, where he burns up anything that's not pure, right? It's like him going into the oven.
Crosses the sun, and that in that moment is when the sun kind of engulfs Mercury, and Mercury is then purified, I guess, burned off. That feeling of all those impurities, all of those unnecessary thoughts or words that we've used is about shedding those, letting those go, and allowing those really clear, crystal clear messages to come through.
It really is. It's about clarity of the mind. And it is so important for me to make Talisman at this time.
And we have something very special for everybody.
I know.
So, and we really can just start talking about that now, because let's move into Talisman times. So last week you had not finished up any talismans because there were no talismans to finish.
Well, wasn't a good time. We had the sun still in the last 7 degrees of Libra, and it was opposing Mars and Aries and squaring the kerfuffle, and just I avoided it.
Perfect.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the upcoming talismans, however, are what is most exciting for us, because we're talking about this Sun cazimi Mercury retrograde, and in this motion that Mercury is going to be being burned up, being purified, having this really clear message. This exact time, you can in tandem with Sandy create your own talisman on our website. Of course, the links are included on our emails and in the descriptions. However, if you have any trouble finding those, make sure to go over to intentionbeads.com. There you'll find the Mercury cazimi talismans. So these ones, of course, they're upcoming. So they're kind of going to be like the pre-sale talismans that you've maybe seen on the website. However, you're going to be involved in the making.
There are about 7 hours of the cazimi time period. And it's Sunday, October 25th, from about 9:41 in the morning until about a little after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's a long period of time. And I have come up with a series of start times. I have some orbit necklaces available, and I have large bead bracelets and small bead bracelets. Mm-hmm. But you're going to pick your time, because during that time I will communicate with you, and so that you're going to be repeating the intention and the affirmation at the same time for this 30-minute period. There's no extra cost for this. It's still the regular universal charge of $222. But I wanted to give people the chance. I've got some of these already filled up, some of these times. Mm-hmm. But here is the intention: to strengthen the mind and clarify the message. I discover my hidden treasures. I freely express and communicate these ideas, thoughts, words, and processes openly. I already know.
And that is that clarity. The I already know is this direct connection to divine that we always have. However, we have those moments too when that clear message where it like rings true just like a bell, and it's so loud and you can't
avoid it.
You can't mistrust it.
Yeah.
You know it's there. And that's that feeling of this Mercury cazimi the sun. So, and these messages are the truth. And so what I also love is going and finding the treasure, because here this Mercury retrograde is in Scorpio, which is all about finding the treasure in the mud and the muck. So, I'm excited for these.
And I can add that, we did this big presentation a couple days ago around the Mercury retrograde trigons. And we're leaving in this Mercury retrograde period, we're leaving the water element. And we're transitioning into the air element. Mm-hmm. And so that the Mercury retrograde that's been happening for the last year and a half, 2 years-ish, have been all in water, and they've been the feeling, in the feeling category. It's like your emotional, like thinking about your emotions. Mm-hmm. This now, we're going into another, all the way till January of 2022, into the thinking mode. So the retrograde periods will be all around what your words are, your thoughts, your messages, your ideas, your opinions, your processes, your organization, all the detail.
And even your marketing.
Your commerce, your trade, your words, your Instagrams, your podcasts.
Right.
So anybody that has to get a message out, particularly in this next year and a half, this Talisman period is for you, because it doesn't have to be so feely and can sometimes emotionally drag you down. It can be on the up in the air and keep it moving and keep it lively, right? And keep it mutable and versatile and teaching and learning and sharing information. Yeah, that is true.
So yes. Okay. If you have any questions on how to get this Mercury cazimi talisman, of course, email me, alex@intentionbeads.com. Also, check out those links for this specific talisman.
But this is different because I have the picture that we took, because you did a beautiful job on the marketing. You kind of took the small bead bracelet and the large bead bracelet and the orbit bracelet and faded out the colors that it was, so it looks kind of black and white.
Right.
And then we've put little tiny round cane pictures that I chose for this because it hasn't been made yet.
Right.
So you don't get to pick your color, but you get to pick your time so that you are available in a writing with your journal at that moment while I'm making your beads. So the color's already been picked, which, go check it out. It's pretty cool.
Yes. And the coolest part, too, is that you're going to be including some orbit necklaces along with this. Mm-hmm. And those are at a $50 price. So this is a really awesome, if you've always been kind of wanting a more personalized talisman, this is going to be a really wonderful one to have, because while they're being created, you will be present with yourself in this kind of Mercury journey of just listening to that inner divine self, and that's going to really connect you to this talisman.
Right?
Yes.
And then, of course, the bracelets, I will do an activation call once you get them in the mail, and we set up a Zoom call. It's about 15-20 minutes, and we activate it.
Yeah.
It's always included with all the talisman bracelets.
Correct.
All of them, yeah.
So moving on to the horizon. So we have October 31st, we have our Chatting with the Stars. This is the November forecast. And this is, of course, a free event on Facebook Live where Sandy and Susan are going to be talking to you about the upcoming dates for November. Don't miss out. It is absolutely complimentary. Then November 11th, we have a CWS webinar happening, and this is all about stationing direct. We have 3 major planets that are going to be going from retrograde into stationing direct. So this is going to be a very interesting time. Can you give us a little snippet about
all in November? We've got 3 planets retrograde right now. Mercury, which is typical for Mercury going retrograde 3 times a year. Mars will station direct and start moving forward. And then Neptune. And Neptune goes retrograde for about 5-6 months a year anyway. But I find it really interesting that this will be the period where all of these will be, cha-ching, changing directions and slowly moving forward. So it kind of gives us an idea of we're moving we're moving along. We're finally kind of coming out of this can't move forward. We always are going backwards to redo and rethink and, reply and retreat. And because the only planet really that will be retrograde after this Neptune will be Uranus. So, Uranus will be the only one retrograde. And I think he moves in January usually to be direct. So let me just quick look. Yeah, when we get to the middle of January of 2021, there will be about 10 days, maybe 12 days, no planets retrograde.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we sometimes get that, right? But those superior planets stay retrograde. Well, they go retrograde every year when the sun moves in the opposition placement. That's when they're retrograde for superiors. 5 to 6 months out of the year. But during this period, and then Mercury will go retrograde the end of January, which will take the 0 retrograde. Mercury will screw that up.
Okay, so moving on, we also have a new event that's going to be happening, and this is November, let's see here.
13th.
November 13th to the 14th. This is called the Quintessence Virtual Retreat, and basically this is a chance to join other women leaders around sharing stories, practices, and it's all going to be really purpose-driven and meaningful for both work and life. So it's kind of creating that placement. And Sandy's going to be a speaker at this event and talking all about astrology and how we can really practically take that into our daily life. And I think you were on a podcast with this host. And
next week.
Oh, next week. Okay. And yeah, so if you guys know of any podcasts that you really like to listen to as well as ours, we are looking to have Sandy join in and give a little astrology knowledge. So
I've been asked by my friend Dan, who I run into at some of these events, spiritual rock star. He's asked me to be on his podcast. That's not till early November, but spiritual rock star.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one.
It's kind of like spiritual gangster, but it's a little bit more rock and roll. So let's move on. We'll move into our house. And it's nap time, of course. I don't know if you guys can tell it in our voices, but yes, this week has knocked us down a little bit, but we are still alive and kicking. So after a long week of travel, virtual travel, events, public events, private events, and, personal travel too. Sandy and I are interested in just talking about how it is, because this is our first day, how it is that we really want to ground and come back to home, come back to the center, and settle back into our daily routine. So, Mom, I'll start you off with this question.
Well, like I said, we're recording this Sunday the 18th. And Sun square Saturn. This means Saturn is taking away all primary essence of vitality. This is a tired day. And like you said, you can hear it in our voice. We were all like 1 and 2 and 3 to get all riled up to get on air and be excited like we normally are.
We do.
But it's Sunday's a rest day, and we have to really, really remember, folks, that some people are busier than ever. Right, during this COVID. And you still need to pull parts of the day or a full day into the rest. And I mean, Sunday was meant to rest. So it's interesting it fell on a Sunday.
So tell me, what are you doing? What are some...
Well, I'm working. But as soon as we're done with this podcast, I'm unpacking my suitcase up in my room. I'm going to do some laundry. Just to try to get my bedroom reorganized, my bathroom, the kitchen. If I can see, particularly in those areas of my life, like order, that makes me feel grounded, because if I don't have any work and I don't have any clients and I don't have any talisman times, of course I do have books and books to catch up on my homework in class, that I'll go sit on the couch in front of the fireplace and read some of my school books. Mm-hmm. That grounds me to be like, because if I can get by the fireplace in my chair with a little blanket, maybe some hot ginger water, I feel like that's a little reprieve for me, where I'm not.
You're not on a time frame.
And I'm not out speaking. I'm not talking. I'm ingesting, right? And I'll have my candles lit. And of course, I just my mom actually bought me a bunch of candles. We went to the store and she's like, I'm going to buy you candles. You love them.
That's awesome.
And it's so like, I need some new ones because, they're all gone.
Yep. Well, you got to burn them to the end. There are those types that just like collect candles and never light them. There was a candle that you actually had. It was a beautiful big blue candle.
That's right.
And I'm pointing to it right now. That has never been lit. Except maybe
No,
once.
I did
okay,
light
just
it.
Recently though.
Well,
And
it's
we've had
18
that
years
thing.
old.
Yes, it's an 18-year-old candle.
But it's about 2 feet long, 1.5 feet tall.
Right.
It's
the biggest candle.
It's like an art piece. Yes. I think that's what Jim, my decorator, bought it for, as an art piece. But I have been lighting it. But anyway, that like candlelight. I'll put on some meditation music on all the floors if I'm running up doing this. Piddling around the house. My grandfather used to piddle around. And I thought that was the weirdest.
I always thought that was like a derogatory term.
It sounds like, peeing in your pants. I don't know. But that's what I love to do. And it just makes me...
to piddle is to urinate. That I just looked it up. But piddling around is to spend time in a wasteful, trifling, or ineffective way.
Well, that's not how I want to
You're
term
going to
this.
redefine it?
Piddle around says I don't have any specific thing that I need to get done, but at the end of my piddling around, I've gotten so many things in order that magically finished. Like one of the things I wanted to do today that I did do, whenever I'm on a client call on my Zoom and I'm sitting at my portion of this big 8-foot marble desk that we both share and 2 other people share, that you see all these books in this bookcase behind me. And every time I get on a Zoom call, I can see that, right? Because I'm looking at myself, looking at the client, right? And I'm thinking, that bothers me. So I removed all the books, or most of them, and put them in a drawer underneath. So that was what I considered piddling around. It's something I've been wanting to do. And I'm like, I have 5 minutes right now. How long would this take? Okay, it took 10 minutes. But I didn't have anything to do in that other 5 minutes. That's what I mean by, I've been wanting to do that. I'm right here. I have nothing else to do. Let me get to it.
Yeah. And you're very good at that.
So I feel satisfied
Yeah.
and I feel accomplished and I feel worthy of then sitting on the couch next to the fireplace. The one thing I can't do to get grounded is nap. I can't nap.
And that was actually what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
One of the ways that I like to ground is either by laying down or napping, sleeping for sure. I'm a great sleeper. Bathtubs.
Yeah.
Love bathtubs.
I might do that
Those
today.
really help, and kind of like the opening of pores and sweating and, kind of releasing those things. That feels so good to me. And that it exhausts me a little bit. So it's kind of like a dual purpose. Like I don't try to do it in the middle of the day, but more towards night. And another way, that I like is either like meditating or yoga, just to get really grounded and into my own body. But my favorite that you said is having a really clean, organized space, because it's what is around you is also a reflection of what's going on in your head. Because I've noticed this, and you know that I'm not always the most clean, but in my young adulthood, I've been getting better and better at it. And so I've noticed that when I'm stressed or when I feel my life is chaotic, it's usually when I look around, my room is chaotic, the dishes aren't done. And so I'm realizing that it is such a reflection of what's going on in your life. So that's a very important thing, I think.
Right. I know that when I got back to Chicago from Cincinnati, where I was for 6 weeks, like I mentioned, and found very little grounding there because of what I was called to do.
You weren't on your own schedule. You were tracking medicine schedules. You were tracking your business schedule.
Doctor schedules,
right.
My mom's schedules. And now that I'm home, I knew as soon as I pulled in here, I had a big webinar slides to do. I had clients to do. Thursday, Friday, we did the Beth Davis event, which was from 9 in the morning to about 9 at night.
Yes, that was fun.
2 days in a row. And then yesterday was a beautiful private event, which was wonderful. But when we got home last night, it was like, yes, I was able to focus all the energy that I had for each one of those items with a sleep in between. Sleep is my grounding. Oh my gosh. Going to bed early too.
Right.
And when I was with my mom, she goes to bed about 11:15 every night.
And
I'm
that's
like,
even late for you.
Mom, 10 o'clock is my bedtime. I know it sounds like we've traded. We've switched.
Right.
But I love sleep.
Okay, well, those are some of our ways that we like to ground. So let us know if you have any. We want to hear from you all, of course. Give us your feedback, give us your reviews, and tell us a little bit about your favorite ways to ground. So we will see you next week. And have a phenomenal time. Rest, recuperate from that week that we just had, and look forward to this one. It's going to be great. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Here, where the